Think about the last time you were truly overwhelmed. Maybe it was a meeting that spiraled out of control, a deadline creeping closer, or an argument that escalated faster than you expected. What was your first instinct? Most people react. They fight back, defend, rush to fix. But there's something powerful about the person who stays composed, the one who listens before they speak, the one who doesn't just react but responds. We admire these people not because they are emotionless, but because they have mastered control over their emotions. Their calm isn't weakness, it's power. Today, I want to show you why staying calm is a superpower and how it changes the way we lead, the way we work, and the way we live. Imagine two pilots in the cockpit of an airplane experiencing severe turbulence. One is frantically pressing buttons, his voice shaking as he calls for help. The other sits steady, breathing deeply, carefully scanning the controls, making calculated adjustments. Both pilots have the same knowledge, the same training, but their reactions are vastly different. One is consumed by the chaos, the other controls his response to it. Now, imagine that same scenario in a boardroom. A crisis unfolds. The numbers don't add up, the plan is falling apart, and the team is looking for direction. Some people panic, throwing out random solutions, scrambling to fix things before they fully understand the problem. Others freeze, overwhelmed by stress, unable to take any action at all. And then there's one person who remains composed, the one who takes a breath, assesses the situation, and asks the right questions. That's the person who will lead the team through the storm. Clarity in chaos isn't about ignoring emotions, it's about managing them. It's about understanding that in moments of crisis, our first instinct is often our worst instinct. The brain is wired for survival, and when we perceive a threat, whether it's physical danger or the fear of failure, our fight or flight response kicks in, our heartbeat quickens, our breathing becomes shallow, and our ability to think clearly is compromised. We react impulsively instead of responding intentionally. But the best leaders, the strongest thinkers, the people we trust in difficult moments, they don't allow chaos to dictate their actions. They slow down when everything else speeds up. They focus when everyone else is distracted. They don't let the urgency of the situation pressure them into making hasty decisions. Instead, they create space between stimulus and response. And that space, that's where real leadership happens. Consider firefighters running into a burning building. Their job isn't just to act, it's to act wisely. If they let fear take over, if they rush in without strategy, they put themselves and others at greater risk. But because they are trained to stay calm under pressure, they can think clearly, prioritize effectively, and execute the right moves in the right order. That's why they succeed where others might fail. The same principle applies in business, in relationships, in life. When we stay calm, we create clarity, and clarity leads to better choices, smarter actions, and stronger outcomes. But how do we cultivate that ability? How do we train ourselves to remain steady when everything around us feels uncertain? It starts with awareness, recognizing when emotions are clouding our judgment, pausing before reacting, asking, what's the most important thing right now? Instead of, how do I make this discomfort go away? It's about choosing long-term impact over short-term relief. It's about seeing the bigger picture instead of getting lost in the momentary panic. The best decisions aren't made in a rush. They're made with intention, with patience, with clarity. And clarity doesn't come from the absence of chaos, it comes from mastering the ability to see through it. Have you ever walked into a room where tension was so thick you could feel it? Maybe it was a high-stakes meeting, an emergency situation, or a moment of crisis where everything seemed to be on the verge of falling apart. People are speaking faster, voices rising, energy spiking, it's chaotic. And then there's one person who stands still. Their voice remains steady, their posture relaxed, their words measured. In that moment, something shifts. The chaos doesn't disappear, but suddenly it feels manageable. That's the power of calm. Emotions are contagious. We mirror the energy around us whether we realize it or not. If someone near us is stressed, we absorb that stress. If they're panicked, we start feeling on edge. But the opposite is also true. When someone remains calm, they create a ripple effect. Their presence signals that not only is everything going to be okay, but that we are capable of handling whatever is in front of us. Think about a time when you faced a difficult situation. Maybe it was a moment of personal failure, an unexpected obstacle, or a high-pressure decision. Who was the person that helped you through it? Was it the one who matched your anxiety, adding fuel to the fire? Or was it the one who exuded confidence, who reassured you, not with empty words, but with their steady presence? Chances are you leaned on the person who wasn't shaken, the one who made you feel safe even when things were uncertain. In leadership, in teamwork, and in life, this principle holds true. Panic spreads, but so does poise. The leader sets the tone. People take cues from those they trust. If a leader reacts impulsively, jumps to conclusions, or lets their emotions take over, the team follows. If they're frantic, the team scrambles. If they're pessimistic, the team loses faith. But when a leader remains calm, when they think before they speak, when they focus on solutions instead of problems, when they choose steady confidence over erratic urgency, it creates stability. A great leader isn't the one who has all the answers. A great leader is the one who creates the conditions for the right answers to emerge. And that starts with emotional control. Military teams understand this deeply. In high-stakes situations, soldiers aren't just trained to execute tasks. They're trained to regulate their responses under extreme pressure. If the leader loses composure, the team loses trust. But when a leader projects calm, even in the face of adversity, it reassures everyone around them. It signals, we are still in control, we still have options, we will figure this out. And this isn't just true in life or math situations. The same principle applies in any organization, any team, any family. Whether you're managing a crisis at work, handling a disagreement at home, or leading a group through uncertainty, your ability to remain calm determines how others respond. How calm creates psychological safety. People perform best when they feel safe, and that safety isn't just physical, it's psychological. It's the belief that they can express ideas, take risks, and make mistakes without fear of judgment or punishment. And psychological safety starts with trust. Imagine a workplace where every mistake is met with frustration, where every challenge is met with stress, where every obstacle feels like a personal failure. That environment doesn't breed innovation, it breeds fear. People stop speaking up, they second-guess themselves, they hesitate instead of acting decisively. Now imagine a workplace where challenges are seen as opportunities to learn, where setbacks aren't crises but moments for growth, where mistakes are met with curiosity instead of blame. That kind of culture isn't built by accident, it's built by leaders who remain calm, who respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally, who create an environment where people feel supported instead of scared. And the more people feel safe, the more they perform at their highest level, the more they contribute, the more they trust each other. And it all starts with one person deciding that no matter how uncertain the situation, they will not let panic dictate their action. The ripple effect of composure. The beauty of calm is that it doesn't just influence one person, it spreads. When you remain composed, the people around you absorb that energy. They see that there is no need to rush, no need to react impulsively. They follow your lead. And soon, what started as one person's decision to stay grounded turns into a collective mindset. Parents see this with their children. If a child falls and scrapes their knee, their first instinct isn't pain, it's to look at their parent's reaction. If the parent gasps in horror, the child bursts into tears. But if the parent stays calm, the child takes a deep breath and moves on. The same dynamic happens in every group, in every team, in every organization. When the person people look to for guidance remains calm, it gives everyone permission to do the same. It allows logic to override fear, patience to replace impulsiveness, and trust to take the place of uncertainty. And in a world that often feels rushed, reactive, and uncertain, the ability to stay calm isn't just a skill, it's a superpower. Leadership isn't about having a title, it's not about being the loudest voice in the room or the one making the most decisions. True leadership is about influence, about guiding others through uncertainty, about being the person people turn to when things go wrong. But what if the captain stays steady? What if they remain focused, giving clear directions, assessing the situation with precision? The crew takes its cue from them. Even in the middle of the storm, they feel a sense of control, not because the storm has disappeared, but because they trust that someone knows how to navigate through it. That's what great leaders do. They don't deny the existence of problems. They don't pretend that chaos doesn't exist, but they don't add to it either. Instead, they absorb it. They process the turbulence around them and transform it into clarity, direction, and confidence. It's easy to react. It's easy to let the pressure of the moment dictate our behavior. But real leadership isn't about reacting, it's about responding. And response requires control. The energy of a leader shapes the environment. Think of a workplace where the leader is constantly overwhelmed. Every problem feels like a crisis. Every setback is met with frustration. Every challenge triggers stress. What happens to that team? They become hesitant, fearful, and disoriented. They start working from a place of anxiety rather than purpose. The leader's energy sets the tone for everyone else. Now, think of a workplace where the leader remains composed even under pressure. They acknowledge difficulties without being consumed by them. They focus on solutions instead of dwelling on problems. They move forward with confidence even when the path isn't clear. That energy spreads. The team feels more capable, more grounded, more empowered to think critically instead of react emotionally. Leadership isn't just about making decisions, it's about shaping the environment in which decisions are made. If a leader radiates chaos, the team mirrors it. If a leader radiates calm, the team follows that lead, creating stability in unstable situations. Great leaders act as shock absorbers. When problems arise, they don't let stress ripple through the team unchecked. Instead, they take it in, process it, and find a way forward. They don't pass their frustration down the chain. They don't spread their anxiety through hurried decisions or erratic behavior. They pause, they assess, they decide how to respond in a way that strengthens the team instead of weakening it. Think about the best leaders in history, the ones who guided people through the most difficult times. They weren't the ones who lost their cool under pressure. They weren't the ones who let fear dictate their choices. They were the ones who, despite the uncertainty, stood firm. They provided clarity in the midst of confusion. They gave people something to hold on to when everything else felt like it was falling apart. That's the kind of leader people remember, the kind they trust, the kind they follow, not because they have to, but because they want to. From chaos to clarity, the leadership mindset shift. Absorbing chaos doesn't mean ignoring problems. It doesn't mean suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It means taking control of what can be controlled. When faced with uncertainty, weak leaders spread fear, strong leaders spread competence. When tension rises, weak leaders become reactive, strong leaders become more intentional. When mistakes happen, weak leaders assign blame. Strong leaders focus on learning and adapting. The ability to absorb chaos comes down to mindset. It's about training yourself to pause before responding, to ask, what does this situation need from me right now, instead of, how do I make this problem go away as fast as possible? It's about resisting the urge to react impulsively and instead choosing to lead with thoughtfulness, patience, and clarity. And when leaders do this, when they take the pressure, the uncertainty, the stress, and transform it into something useful, everything changes. The team becomes more focused, the organization becomes more resilient, The people around them feel more capable, more confident, more prepared to take on whatever challenges come their way. The best leaders aren't the ones who avoid chaos. They're the ones who know how to navigate it. They absorb uncertainty, process it with clarity, and turn it into direction. Their calm becomes the foundation for trust. Their steadiness becomes a source of strength, and their ability to respond instead of react shapes the entire environment around them. In a world full of noise, panic, and pressure, true leadership isn't about amplifying the storm, it's about being the anchor in it.